This is the story of how I paid off $92,000 in student debt by the day that I graduated university. My program was 4 years long. It was a bachelor's degree, and the tuition cost was $32,000. And I actually took an internship between my third and fourth year for 1 year. So that basically extended the time from when I started university till I graduated to be 5 years in total. Now, during that 5 years, I was also racking up other expenses in life, and my cost of living was about $1,000 per month during that whole time. Now, $1,000 per month times 12 months per year times 5 years is an additional $60,000 that I have to account for. Now, to be clear, those expenses included like my food, coffee, my phone bill, going out for drinks, having fun. I was living at home, so I wasn't paying rent. I was saving a lot of money on that. I was occasionally contributing to the utility bills and things like that, anywhere from some months nothing to other months being a few $100s. It really depended on what was going on with me and my family at the time. And also another really big money saver was I didn't own a car. I did already own a motorcycle from before. It was just a small 125cc bike, very small, nothing fancy, very good on gas. And together my insurance and my gas was costing me like $5 a week, which is a huge cost saving compared to my friends that were owning and operating cars at the time. So ultimately, the $60,000 of life expense in the 5 years plus the $32,000 in tuition was $92,000 that I was going to have to come up with during those 5 years to pay it all off. So let's start with my summer jobs. The summer after my first year, I got a summer job for $15 per hour. Basically, it was just a simple job. I was going out to like festivals and events and talking to people about recycling. I earned $15 per hour at that job, and in the first summer, I earned about $8,500 after tax. Then moving to the summer after my second year, I actually found a job with a nonprofit that I was really interested in, but unfortunately they only paid $10 per hour, which was the minimum wage at the time. But I thought about it for a long time and I decided I really aligned with what this company was doing and I wanted to do it anyways. So during that summer working for minimum wage, I ended up bringing in $5,700 after tax. Now, I actually did really well working for them and we had a great relationship, and so I negotiated with them to come back for the following summer, which was my third summer, and I somehow negotiated a 100% increase in my wage, and I was paid $20 per hour the next summer. So I went back to that job, and during that summer I earned about $11,400. Now that was the summer after my third year, and I mentioned that I did an internship between my third and fourth academic years. So right after finishing that 4-month block of summer work, I started a new job for the next 12 months. And I ended up getting 2 offers. One offer was for about $30 per hour in a construction management type role. That was amazing. That was far more than I had ever earned previously. And so I considered that, but I also had another offer on the table that was only for $19 per hour, working with a more sustainability focused role, which was what I was really interested in. And I thought about it for quite a while, and I decided that I was going to actually decline the higher paying job and take the job that I was more interested in at $19 per hour. So I did that, and I worked for the sustainability job for the next 12 months, and at $19 per hour, I brought in about $34,500. And then when I finished that job, I was just going into my final year of school, and then graduation was just 8 months away. So when I add up all of the money that I earned from the summer jobs and the internships, we had $8,500 from the first summer, $5,700 from the second summer, $11,400 from the third summer, and $34,500, which brings the total to $60,100 from summer jobs and internships. Now, I didn't only work during the summers, I also did some work throughout the school year during all 5 years of my degree. One thing that I had started, which was a little bit unusual, is I had started a YouTube channel. Not this one, it was something else. But throughout the 5 years that I was in school, the YouTube channel ended up bringing in around $5,000. Really, it wasn't much money when you look at any individual month. At the beginning, I was making a few dollars per month. And then by the end, it was doing a little bit better, bringing in maybe $300 a month on some good months. So that worked out to about $10 a day. But looking at the big picture over 5 years, $5,000 wasn't bad for a source of income as a student. I also had more conventional part-time jobs while I was in school. I worked for some marketing agencies and was kind of going out to festivals and events and trade shows and things like that and like handing out free stuff. I would typically get paid about $20 per hour to do that sort of job. And throughout the 5 years, I ended up making a total of around $9,000. Now, if you divide that $9,000 by $20 per hour, you can see I worked about 450 hours. And if you divide that by 5 years, really that's only like 90 hours per year, or averaged out to about 2 hours per week. So as a university student, it's pretty manageable. Some weeks obviously I was working more and some less. It depended on the cycle of events, but 2 hours per week is really not bad. And to do that for 5 years and bring in an extra $9,000, that really helped in paying off my debts. Now, I did one other thing as well. When I was in school, I was living in a condo building, like a shared building with a few townhouses, and it was serviced by a property management company that would cut the grass in the summer and shovel the snow in the winter and that kind of stuff. And I knew that the owners of the property, because my family was one of the units, was paying an extremely high amount for this service, and it was typically pretty bad. So I negotiated with the condo board to actually perform the service myself as an independent contractor, and they agreed to my contract. And so all I had to do was buy like a snow shovel and a push lawnmower and a weed whacker. And basically during the winter time for 6 months, my contract was for $450 per month. I would remove any snowfall that landed on the property, like on the sidewalks and things. And where I lived, it ended up snowing about 10 times per month during those months. And so I'd go out for about an hour each time it snowed to remove the snow, and I was ultimately earning about $45 an hour to shovel my own snow and some of my neighbors, which was a totally great deal. During the summer, I would cut the grass for $30 per week and do that for about 16 weeks each summer. And then also twice a year, I would do a property cleanup, and like the spring cleanup and the fall cleanup to get rid of leaves and that sort of stuff. So that all totaled up to about just over $3,300 per year, and I did that for 3 years while I was in school. So that worked out to be about $10,100. So when we add up all of the money from the part-time jobs, condo maintenance was $10,100, casual marketing was $9,000, and YouTube was $5,000 for a total of about $24,100. Now, I was able to find money in a few other places as well. I ended up getting a low-income grant. Basically, this is specifically linked to the type of student loan that I had, where basically if you had taken out student loans in Canada and your income was under a certain threshold, you wouldn't have to pay them all back. And basically on the $32,000 that I took out, I was basically given a free pass on 4,000 of that, or like 4,000 of it I didn't have to pay back. It was considered low-income grants. But for me, that was $4,000 free that I could basically just not have to pay, so I consider that money in from my perspective. I also applied for a scholarship. It is one of those kind of scholarships that you just like write an essay for about a topic and they'll award you money if they like it. It was related to my field of study, and some organization that was in this industry wanted students to write about things. And so I didn't really care too much about it, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to write an essay and just see what happens, just saying how much I love this field of study and how I'm going to be the next big thing when I graduate in this particular industry. And for some reason they liked what I wrote, and I was one of the winners of the scholarship, and they awarded me $5,000 just for writing a 2-page essay. That completely blew my mind. I was not expecting that at all, but it was $5,000 just deposited straight into my bank account, and was actually the easiest money I ever made in my life. So if you ever have an opportunity, if you're a student and you see these scholarships that are just like based on writing essays and things, definitely try, because if you can win one of these, it's absolutely amazing. But between the $5,000 for the essay and the $4,000 in the grants that I didn't have to pay back, that was an additional $9,000 to me that I could use against my student debt. So if we look at the total with all of my money out, my total expense for being a student, it was $92,000, right? It was $32,000 for tuition and $60,000 for my cost of living. And then if we look at all of the money coming in, I had just over $60,000 from my summer jobs and internships, just over $24,000 from my part-time jobs, and about $9,000 from these other sources of income, for a total of $93,200. And if you just subtract the money out from the money in, you can see I was left over with just over $1,000. And basically what I did is right around the day that I graduated, I took all that money and I just went and paid off all of my student loans in a single transaction, and then I walked away from university without debt. So yeah, that's pretty much the not very flashy and very straightforward, boring story of how I paid off $92,000 in student debt by the day that I graduated university.